Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Cardano and some of the Cardano price. So first we're going to hop right into it and take a look at the chart here. So we are at 87.8 cents. Now the big thing to note, over the weekend we did wick down all the way down to 68 cents. So there was obviously a little bit of an event over the weekend and we saw that, and it is what it is after. And if we zoom out of the chart, because that's very important, we look at the grand part of the actual rise that happened, and that's a lot to come in to any project, even a solid one. So really it's expected to have a correction, especially one like this. So this is actually very tame and mild. So if you're new to Cardano, it might have shocked you a little bit, but this really is nothing in terms of crypto. So keep that in mind if you are new. Obviously, if you've been here before, you know exactly. But we're holding strong at 87. We've been gently climbing up, and I think we'll carry on to this trend until we see some big news from Cardano. We are going to review the latest live stream of Charles Hoskinson, talk about some of his perspectives, and also go into some of my predictions and perspectives of Cardano. And speaking of streams, I went live last Friday. It was a complete success, other than I was a little bit late. Sorry about that. We're going to be planning some live streams here, but the most recent live stream that we're going to be doing is going to be Saturday at 6:30 EST, and it's probably going to go for a couple hours, so you can just pop in at whatever time works for you. We'll probably go at least a couple hours, but I'll tweet everything in advance. And if you haven't, follow my Twitter. Okay, so let's get into the video with the first clip from Charles.
It's easy to do DeFi. I laugh when people say, how will you catch up with Ethereum's network effect? It doesn't exist. What, 80,000 developers compared to 22.6 million developers? Only 31% of the new dApps deployed in 2020 were on Ethereum. It costs $50 to do anything, even send a transaction, and I have to compete with that? That's like a karate match where the other person is 96 years old and is in a wheelchair. I'm not worried about it. Not worried about it at all. It's not a competition at all. Let them go do their thing. Great. I am so glad that as the first mover, they were able to accumulate a little bit of a monopoly, as Mosaic did in the browser wars, as MySpace did in the social media wars. That network effect means nothing to our industry. What really means things is, who have you helped? Where have you gone? What have you accomplished? Who is using this application? Who will be using it 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now? And how is that changing their lives?
Just to highlight on some of the points here, and we've seen this, especially most of my audience, because I do know most of you guys are around my age, and I know I look pretty young, but I am a millennial, and I am in my 30s, so it is what it is. But you know that we started out with MySpace. You know that we started out with all these other .com companies. And you notice that not many of them are around to have the same monopoly that they had before. People gravitate and vote with their dollars, whatever's more useful for them. So people are going to be moving to services that work for people. This is often what I ask myself when I create videos. I want to make sure that I'm making something that's helpful for you and the viewer. So if you do get some value out of these videos, I'd appreciate a like. It actually goes a long way.
All the time people come to me and say, I'd love to do something in Africa, or I'd love to donate, but I can't even move money and give money to people in Uganda or Tanzania, much less a loan or an insurance product or what have you. The markets just simply don't work at all. Some days they're okay, other days they're not, and it's just a flip of the dime. And if we're really here and serious about what this technology means and what it's going to do for the world, when we look 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years into the future, we have to ask ourselves, is it going to be the case that the average person in Africa who wants to get a loan does so through a peer-to-peer application as opposed to a bank? Will the average person who wants to send money from their home to someone else somewhere in the world, will they use Western Union or PayPal or some service like that, or they use a peer-to-peer application that's totally decentralized?
So this has been a big focus and something that we've talked about a lot. Unlocking financial services in Africa is going to be very important for the global economy moving forward. We already know that a lot of investors are moving into Africa, so it makes sense. And this is a huge amount of human capital completely untapped. Once they are able to get loans and peer-to-peer loans, farmers can expand, entrepreneurs can create businesses, and the economy will flourish. So obviously there's a huge focus right now on Africa specifically because they're significantly unbanked. And Cardano specifically targeting this might be the catalyst that we need. It's important to note that peer-to-peer networks have always done well. So well, in fact, that the music industry paid billions just to try to get systems down. Obviously, royalties had to adapt. Now we're in a situation where currency has to do the same. And everybody will be a part of this system. And I think that's what's most important. Now keep in mind that there are going to be a lot of other DeFi services coming out. One very interesting service is ILOs, or initial litigation offerings, where you can fund a litigation against anything. It depends on the suit. You would read what's going on and you would ultimately make a decision whether or not you wanted to fund that. And then you would get a portion of the proceeds from the suit. There's tons of other examples of decentralized finance and where peer-to-peer lending can go. And when a small loan can go a big way of making a business, that is going to directly help somebody's quality of life and going to boom an economy that hasn't had access to these types of financial services. So it'll be interesting to know where Africa is in the next 10 years and how much social capital we can unlock.
The price goes way up, it goes way down. Guys, I've been in crypto so long. I remember when Bitcoin was under $1. And I remember when it went way up, and I remember when it collapsed way down. And you know what? That's the cycles, and that's what happens. And if that's what matters to you, stop listening to me. Go do something else. I don't know why it goes up or down. I don't think anybody does. The technical analysis is useless. The fundamental analysis is useless. There's too many unknowns in this environment. But what I do know is this tech works. This ecosystem has finally built something that actually deserves to exist. It's nothing but promises before, and potential, and maybe one day. But the reality is, we as a community, we as an ecosystem are getting dangerously close to that threshold where it goes from potential to reality. That's what I care about. And then I care about how do we make that a reality for not just the thousands and the hundreds of thousands and the millions. How do we make that a reality for the billions? And how do we make that a reality for everyone?
So I've mentioned a couple of these important points. One, the bull market, it's going to go up and then it's going to go down. You just need to be prepared for that dip. But a lot of altcoins like Cardano are going to be long-term holds that you want to hold on to. And I'm not giving you financial advice, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't sell. What I am saying is you should at least have a healthy bag going into the future. I definitely won't be liquidating my entire position, and I'm going to try to make my profits from other altcoins before I take from ADA. Blockchain technology is something that's going to completely transform what we know today. Things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Polkadot, and all these other coins are going to change the financial system. Anyone in crypto can see it. It's writing on the wall. Anyone outside doesn't understand it, and that's understandable. It's hard to imagine that digital money can take over everything. But then you kind of realize that that's exactly what's happening. Cryptocurrency is just the hard version of virtual currency. We've been playing with fake dollars this entire time. Cardano, Bitcoin, and these blockchains are the real money. We're investing in systems. Remember that. You're not investing in a digital currency. You're investing in a portion of that system. And here, we're investing in a portion of Cardano, a system that looks to include everybody by using a peer-reviewed process.
Take it out of yourselves for a moment and realize that it's not a fair world until it's fair for all of us. And it's unacceptable that in 2021, an age of wonder, billions of people still do not have access to basic things that we take for granted every day, especially when we have a solution. It's one thing to lament about the evils of corruption and bad systems and broken societies. It's another thing entirely to know you have the cure in your hands, but do nothing about it, not be part of it, to be apathetic or cynical or say that somehow these people don't deserve it. And let's be clear, let's be frank. This is the cure. There's nothing in my life I have been more certain about than that.
The one thing that I want to bring out of this is that this is what he says is the cure, what can really help, what can really change the system that we're in today. And if you're investing, you shouldn't be looking at how you can improve 2021 or 2022. When you're investing, especially in blockchain, we really need to start thinking about 2040 and how radically different everyone's lives will be once these systems are integrated.
They would show the papers, the code, the effort, the progress, the people, and everybody just put blinders on and their fingers in their ears. And now the most insulting thing of all is that people are actually starting to pay attention to us, not because of the hard work we've done, but because the price went up. People in my own social circles ignored me for a long time. I cannot tell you how many text messages and Telegram messages and PMs I've gotten, Facebook messages, other things. Well, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. As if we've achieved a great thing because the markets decided to go up a little bit. And I say to myself, what about all the years, all the papers? We're nearly at 100 papers. We've written so much code. We keep growing. We keep having these huge community milestones. What about Catalyst? We're fundamentally transforming everything we touch. But there was never once a congratulations for that, because people stay at the shallow surface level. And all the love we have right now that you're seeing and the euphoria you're seeing, it will completely disappear in a bear market, regardless if it's our fault or not. If Bitcoin goes to $5,000, probably the entire cryptocurrency market will collapse. Does that in some way invalidate everything we've done, all the things we've accomplished? And if Bitcoin goes to $100,000 because Apple decides to buy some of it and US regulators decide to be a little nicer and we go to the moon as a consequence, does that somehow make us geniuses? Does that somehow make everything we've done valid? No. It works in both directions, and the answer is still the same in both directions. We are only validated if the things we build work.
This is a trap that I think a lot of projects get into, and especially when you have investors that don't understand what cryptocurrency is. And I understand that even a lot of my viewers don't even understand this as transformative technology, but it really is. The people in the dot-com boom, sure, made tons of money. The people that held made millions. This is truly transformative technology. And I understand how much the price can influence what we feel about a certain blockchain. But I think it's important when you're looking at something for investing, don't look at the monetary amount. Look at the true value of the system. You'll either find one of two things. One, the system is undervalued, or the system is overvalued. In which case, that should determine whether or not you buy or sell. Of course, if you're looking for more short term, buy low, sell high is a great rule. But if you're looking for long term, you really should be digging into the projects and making sure you fully understand what you're getting into, because this could be something that you hold for the rest of your life. And in a lot of ways, you might want to, especially if you're able to gain passive income by issuing loans and other DeFi services, which is for sure going to be the future. So it might even be smart for you to hold on to a good portion of your ADA and make an income off. Now, of course, I'm not saying that everything's not going to go down. The bull market is going to end, but that doesn't mean that you need to capitulate your entire position. Not financial advice, by the way.
Coming. And yes, our technology, in my view, is significantly better than all of our nearest neighbors because we thought about it. We didn't just have this stupid Silicon Valley move fast and break things and burden the world with your mistakes for the next 40 years. We actually took the time and the decency to write real protocols and do real science because it's necessary, if at the very least, to be respectful to the people who use the systems and not our own wallets. And at many times, it was very frustrating to spend years doing things that no one cares about and then be criticized for it and called slow or bad or whatever. And then for people to scratch their heads when we're somehow successful and act as if it was just a surprise. Anyway, we earned it.
This is important, and this is a lot of my criticism that I have for ETH. And I know a lot of people like ETH. A lot of big YouTubers are so stuck on the fact that ETH was number one. ETH was the first there. And it's the same mindset that people have about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a great store of value. ETH is a great store of value with smart contract capability. All right, so that is the difference here. Can ETH fundamentally take over the FX market, all the stock markets, derivatives, options, that whole thing? Can ETH do it? No, not currently, not before 2.0. And that's regardless, without a fact. That is completely factual as the system goes. Will 2.0 change that? It might. But the reality is there might be better options by then. And people often go to the better options. We vote with our dollars. That's what this is all about. Having a system that's peer reviewed and the due diligence is done keeps our monetary policy clean, keeps fraud out, makes a flourishing global economic system, helps unbank a good portion of the unbanked population, and helps the underserved countries and people. In Cardano, the system owes it to us and the users to have this in place. We must have these safeguards, especially when we're talking about something so important.
Great news and a lot of progress on every single front. Also in the coming months, Every 6 to 8 weeks, there's going to be a catalyst fund rolling out, and they keep growing in size. And soon dozens and then hundreds eventually of projects will be funded, and a tsunami wave of news will be flowing from them. Next month, our network is completely turned over to the SPOs. Instead of a hybrid network with some federated nodes and 70+% SPO control, 100% SPO control. That's the biggest milestone in our ecosystem's history. We did it. We built the best proof of stake protocol, and we have a beautiful path to evolve that protocol to keep up with emerging technology and to solidify the gains that we already have. And that's just one of many things that are coming. So why not celebrate? We did it. It's inevitable to get to Basho. We know what Hydra looks like. We know how to get that there. And it fits hand in glove with the way we designed Ouroboros and our smart contract model. We know what to do to make native assets the best in class. We know what to do to make Daedalus the best in class. We understand what the regulators want. We know how to integrate an identity center that can make things just great. There's a lot of future proofing that goes into the designs of these things. And we know exactly where to go by 2025. And as soon as we finish the old 2020 stuff and we turn it all on, then the community can come together and say that vision makes sense, or say, no, we have a better one. And they'll decide if that's where they want to go. And if they do, then the next 5 years, we'll have total clarity on the march. And the dreams and ambitions and goals will be better than just, let's build something that has the potential. It'll be, let's make sure that that potential is realized. It'll be, let's build the best cryptocurrency, let's build a true financial operating system for the planet. And instead of let's build it with a few companies, it'll be let's build it with dozens of companies and millions of community members. That's going to happen. And that's this year. Where will we be in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years as we keep this up? That's the point of Cardano. That's the point of my life's work and what we do every single day and who we are as an ecosystem and a community. Whatever that's valued or priced, markets will decide that. It's not my place to say. And if all you care about is that, again, this is not for you because it's too hard. It'll take too long for you. There's no get rich quick in Cardano. It's dragged through the mud. It's tough. There's a lot to read. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to think. Holding ADA isn't a passive affair. You have to think about things. You have to think about the stake pools and delegation policy. You have to think about how to vote. You have to think about how to participate in the ecosystem. You're not just a random member. You're part of a community that pushes itself and has a vision, a dream, and a direction and a goal. It's very different than just holding Bitcoin like Tesla does or any of these other things and saying, or being part of Ethereum and sunshine and unicorns and look how smart we are being part of the next big thing. This is about a commitment to changing the world, at least for me.
Obviously, what Charles is saying here is that there's a lot to come to Cardano in the system. If you think about it a lot about how Polkadot started releasing everything on Polkastarter, you can imagine that the launch for Goguen and other services are going to be just as insane. We're going to have a lot of developers going on to Cardano. We're going to have a lot of developers migrating from both Polkadot and Ethereum. So as bullish as I am on Polkadot, which I am a Polkadot bull, I think when people see what Cardano is offering, a lot of projects are going to migrate. But there's a lot of interoperability between Polkadot and Cardano, so I'm not specifically worried. And if ETH 2.0 fully solves the problems of ETH, then of course I'm going to be happy because I still have a bag of ETH. So I am rooting for everyone, but the reality is the reality, and we can't just go off of who was here first, because that doesn't always matter. In terms of the new news, I'd like to transition into taking a look at this article that happened a little while ago, and we're going to look at a tweet. So here, Twitter was looking at decentralizing the system, and Cardano might be able to help. And an interesting thing down here is the tweet, and I'd like to look at this for a moment. So Jack had expressed his want to decentralize social media and a lot of platforms, and this is to help with what's happened recently in global politics, and it's nice when we have social media that's not run by a governing body like the company Twitter, where it's completely just decentralized, and controlled by the users. And Charles responded to that and said, "We are working on something, Jack. You shouldn't build this in-house. Make it an open source project and our entire industry can contribute." And I truly believe, because Charles has hinted a couple of times, and I know this is speculation, so I'm warning you. Charles has hinted that there's a little bird that is telling him something is going to happen this month. I know, I get it, it's a stretch. He's mentioned it so many times, and this just happened a month ago. So really, the big news could be that Twitter is decentralizing. What does that mean for Twitter? What does that mean for Cardano? Are they going to go onto the Cardano system? Are we going to be able to issue payments within Twitter? Is this the big liquidity announcement that we're talking about? It could be, depending on if Twitter has a financial payment service. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, and this little part of the video is a little bit of speculation to get you through the day. And obviously, there are many millionaires already made on Cardano, so congratulations to the Cardano holders that were buying in at 9 cents. Anyone like me that saw it at 9 cents is probably kicking themselves, but it's okay. Long-term hold, we're looking at 2040. That's it from me, guys. Again, if you saw value out of this video at all, go ahead and give me a like. You don't even understand how much it helps the channel. And subscribe for future crypto updates. Oh, and actually, before I go, there's a lot of people that ask me questions and a lot of people that just want to talk and hang out. And if you do, we have a Discord chat, so you can go ahead and join that. Just go ahead and click on the link in the description below and you will join on the Discord. All right, everybody, that's it for me. Happy hodling.